Thank you very much. I appreciate it. The hospitality that's been shown to all of us by the board of the Foundation on Aging and associated volunteers has been wonderful. This is a very friendly community as I have experienced it over the last day. Just quite pleased to be here. You know, a local foundation on aging is a rare and wonderful thing. Not every county in the country has one, by far. And this particular foundation has been plugging along for 23 years, meeting emergency needs of vulnerable elders in this community, doing wonderful work. If it's to become a great oak tree, as I anticipate it will be, I met two acorns yesterday, Betty Mosley and Mary Schultz, who are still at it, and we should pay tribute to them for their persistence and involvement in this effort. I guess it's worth a bit of applause. And I'm sure there are others who could be mentioned. I think they must be thrilled as well to see that 170 people have come together to talk about sort of the next phase for the foundation and for the community, which is to not only continue to meet the needs of individual vulnerable elders in the community, but to create a community which disallows those kinds of indignities to happen. And so it's a shift in focus, and I'm excited to be involved with that shift in focus in Larimer County. And you're establishing today the foundation for that effort. And I think the foundation on aging probably needs to grow as rapidly as the population itself is growing, and that's something to look forward to. The partnership with the Office on Aging is pivotal to the success, but also the involvement and the collaboration of so many different organizations and individuals in the community will be essential to the work that you do over the next 3 or 4 years. Now I have a fake clicker. Click. Yeah. I'd like you to raise your hand if you are aging. Okay, good. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand if you're not aging because you're not breathing. So we've kind of established that premise, right? That we're all stakeholders around this issue. That's important. You know, ironically, despite that fact, sometimes we're kind of oblivious to it. I have a couple of short narratives on the aging experience drawn from our research in Bloomington, Indiana, that I wanted to share with you. And one of them says something about the ability of commerce and the retail sector to meet the needs of older adults. We'd buy half a loaf of bread if somebody offered it to us. The second one, when I cross a busy street, I start to limp so the cars will pay attention. Now, how fair is that, right? And it says something about the auto dominance that we've created and its impact on people who may have some frailties. And it also tells us how much can be learned from just a little bit of information if people are put in a position to be able to share it. And I know that in the coming year you're going to be setting up opportunities for people to share these kinds of insights and learn from them. And use them for advocacy purposes as well, to bring people along. Click. Today, I wanted to talk about 4 basic ideas. One is that aging is actually not about time in the body, but it's about place and relationships. What that means for our work is that we're creating good places in which to grow old, that communities around the country are taking up this challenge, and that Larimer County is well positioned at this time to take up that challenge as well. And so our hope is that at the end of the day, you're going to have some level of enthusiasm that's going to keep you involved with these issues, whether it's in your own organization in your own way, or whether it's part of the broader collaborative. I want to start by talking about what I think is a kind of a misplaced focus that we have on this notion of aging in our culture. Click. There actually is a lot of talk about aging when you look around. I mean, you see it in the newspapers, you see it in the media, you see it in the store windows, you see it in the drugstore, you see it everywhere. But most of the talk is about the aging body. Some sense that in order to overcome aging, as if it were a virus of some kind or other, you just have to sort of individually overcome. So the focus is on kind of the individual aging body, and that's where a lot of our public discourse about aging is located, if you will. Now this suggests that it's possible to have a svelte 23-year-old body with gray hair, which is fine. I'm not against that. But there's a subtext. If you see the rest of the cover of the magazine, which says there's one story on growing old without thinking old, which suggests that there's something wrong about the way old people think, I guess. If we need to learn anything about the way old people might think who have experienced the Depression, there's probably some good old ways of thinking that we need to be paying attention to in this economic downturn that we're currently experiencing ourselves. And it's also, there's another article on how America treats the elderly. As this is not the elderly person, I guess. It's as if the elderly are out there, and we, through our charity, we'll take care of them, and that's our responsibility, and that's what we'll do. In a sense, it helps to influence the way we think about aging, and probably not the best way. Time and chronological time seems to play a great deal of importance in various arenas, as if our chronological age sort of determined who we are and what we're like. You can go to any hospital or mental health center and pick up a medical chart, and it usually starts with something like this: the patient is an 84-year-old female, as if her age were the primary identifying characteristic that we needed to know and from which everything else would follow. And there's a subtle ageism, if you will, in the very language that we talk about when we discuss aging. We say things like, she's a young 64, isn't she? My, she sure doesn't look 65, does she? When Gloria Steinem, who's probably in her 70s now, I would guess, when she turned 50, she had a news conference on her birthday, happened to be her birthday, and a reporter said, "Boy, you look great." And she said, "You look really young." And she said, "This is what 50 looks like." So the question is, why give credit to youth for a vibrant old age? Why not come to the realization that there are many different ways of being old, and one way is to be vibrant and sexy and beautiful, and it has nothing to do with youth. It has all to do with old age. Click. So what are the consequences of our myopia on this notion that it's all about the individual aging body, and that's where our discussion about aging has to lie? In fact, most of the discussion about aging is actually about anti-aging, right? One of the consequences is that in many ways we've medicalized the concept of old age, kind of seen it as a medical problem. And when we have created environments in which older people are meant to live for an extended period of time, such as a long-term care facility, and I have to say that we're seeing fewer and fewer of these, thankfully, but it's an environment which is obviously designed to meet a person's medical needs. The floors are shiny, meant to look sterile. It's a double-loaded hallway with a window, at the end. The floor is so shiny that it actually looks like a sheet of ice. And if you're an older person venturing out into that hallway, what are you going to do if you encounter a sheet of ice? Well, you're likely to broaden your stance a little bit and begin to shuffle because you don't want to slip on the ice. So you have to take on the trappings of old age just to navigate your environment, and that's not fair, is it?